I'm Susie Hubley, and I'm a member of the worship committee. Oh, yeah, thanks. How's that? I'm Susie Hubley, and I'm a member of the worship committee. Good morning, and welcome to Allen Avenue Unitarian Universalist Church's in-person and online worship. Whether today is your first time here or you've been coming for years, we're glad you're with us. We're a growing community that transforms lives through the power of love. Our mission calls us to celebrate diversity, encourage spiritual growth, and promote social responsibility while we travel on and care for the earth. Welcome also to those at home who are joining us on Zoom. If you're attending for the first time, please go to our website and fill out the welcome card so that we can know more about you. This morning's service about cosmic perspectives is presented by Allen Avenue's Worship Committee. Lay-led worship is a tradition at this and many other Unitarian Universalist societies. At Allen Avenue, the Worship Committee either sponsors or presents one such service a month. On most other Sundays, services are led by our minister, the Reverend Tara Humphreys. And Terry and Celeste would like to come up and tell us about the Artisans Market.
Good morning, everyone. So, there was a little something going on here yesterday.
A little something.
A little, and we saw quite a few of you, and I just want to say personally that the fact that we're still smiling today is a really good sign.
That we're upright.
That we're upright, and that we had a great time, and we hope you did too. There are quite a few people for us to thank. And this was a huge community affair, by the way. This was not me and Celeste, it was all of you as well. So when we say your name or describe you, we would like you to stand up and be recognized.
And stay standing.
And stay standing, right?
If you're able. If you're not able, you can sit down.
That's all right, raise your hand, that's all
Yes,
right.
raise your hand.
So we would especially like to thank Emily, who was our publicity person and did the sign out front, and all kinds of emails to everybody on the face of the earth to let them know. And we would like to thank.
Going off script
Yes, going off script.
here. You
Well,
want names
the
or-
people who had their own tables.
Yes.
So I'm gonna list some of them. I see Rick Kimball, I see Rick Grover, I see Pam Jackson.
Mike
Kathy-
Luce. Dave Jewers.
Kathy Netto, don't know if she's here. And John Howard did the fine foods, and Suzanne Federer and Sue Malcolm did our fiber arts, and Reggie Robnett did our classy crafts, and Denise Curry did our raffle baskets,
And Dale did our music live.
which was delightful, by the way. Thank you, Dale.
And George did our recorded music.
Yes, which was great. And if you made things to donate to any of these tables, I'd like you to stand up as well.
All those bakers and sandwich makers
And knitters and
knitters and crocheters and crafty people that got hot glue gun burns on their fingers.
That's right, and marmalade makers and jewelry donators and all of those other people.
And the cashiers.
Yes.
We can't forget them. They're very valuable to us. So Barb Friedman. And the people that decorated.
Decorating, that's right.
We had Norm Stickney. We had
Jerry
Friedman.
And Russ Glidden, who donated many tables.
And printing.
And the printing of all of our
Beautiful
signs.
printing.
And the people who made baskets, theme baskets, we would love to have them stand up too. That's great. And the people who came and shopped. You're especially.
Did we put the cafe people in?
That's right, the cafe people.
And we have a
Kathy
special
Rasco,
for the
oh my
cafe-
goodness.
cafe people.
Kathy Rasco and all our kitchen workers. And we had a wonderful group who came and set up and folded all of those all of those tally
Tally sheets.
sheets, and our setup people were absolutely incredible, hanging everything from the ceiling and putting the tablecloths on, and the cleanup crew.
Bless them.
We were quite dead by that time, might I say.
So if-
as you can see, almost the entire room is standing, and that's what community is all
And
about.
you can also have another way of participating by buying something today.
That's
Or
right.
making a donation at the cafe.
Everything is all for sale here, so
And it has to
please.
go today, so this is a final offer,
That's right.
so.
If you have things on our tables that are not sold after this service, please do take them home and enjoy them. And of course, the final announcement is that
Oh.
so far,
What's the
before
number?
today's sale, we have grossed well over $6,000. So, there you go. So, very good. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. And thank you too, very much. Okay. If you're in the sanctuary this morning, we invite you to take this opportunity to silence your cell phone so that you can be fully present. We're so glad you've joined us. Is there coffee today? Yes? Okay. After the service, please join us for coffee and conversation outside. And now let us center our hearts and minds with the ringing of the bell.
There is Light by Eric Williams. In the beginning, there was light, infinite and expansive, flowing out of an unseen center throughout creation. There is light. From the steady sun, the glowing moon, the flashing of meteor, the twinkling stars, the auroras dancing in the northern skies. Within each part of creation, there is light, slowed down and held close by every cell and molecule, by each atom and element. Within you, there is light. The same source is light of the same light as the source, the same radiance that is in all creatures. May this small flame be a constant reminder to you of your true nature and your kinship to all beings. Advent lighting. Today marks the second Sunday in the liturgical season of Advent. Each Sunday until Christmas, we will light one of our Advent candles, which symbolize hope, peace, joy, and love. Last week, we lit the candle of hope. This morning, we light the candle of peace. May we become people of infectious peace.
Our opening words are by Carl Sagan. The size and age of the cosmos are beyond human understanding. Lost somewhere between immensity and eternity is our tiny planetary home. In a cosmic perspective, most human concerns seem insignificant, even petty. And yet our species is young and curious and brave and shows much promise. In the last few millennia, we have made the most astonishing and unexpected discoveries about the cosmos and our place within it. Explorations that are exhilarating to consider. They remind us that humans have evolved to wonder, that understanding is a joy, that knowledge is prerequisite to survival. I believe our future depends on how well we know this cosmos in which we float like a mote of dust in the morning sky. Welcome to worship. Our opening hymn this morning will be number 301 in the gray hymnal.
Good morning. My name is Erica Bartlett, and for our Time for All Ages today, I want to talk to you about space rocks. And any kids are welcome to come up closer, or you can stay where you are. Did you know that right here in Maine, we have a museum that has rocks from the moon? And not only that, they're the biggest rocks from the moon anywhere in the world. I didn't know that until I went to the Maine Mineral and Gem Museum in Bethel this fall. Have any of you been there? A few folks. It was exciting to see these rocks that came from space, and I even got to hold them. So in the picture, I'm holding a rock from the moon, that's the bigger one, and the smaller one is from Mars. That's right, you can even hold a piece of Mars right here in Maine. But you might be wondering, how did a rock get all the way from Mars to the Earth? After all, even when Mars is closest to the Earth, it's 33.9 million miles away. And when it's the furthest away, Mars is 140 million miles away. That's such a long distance, and no person has ever been to Mars, so where did the rocks come from? These rocks are called meteorites. A long time ago, they started as part of Mars. But then something must have slammed into Mars, either an asteroid or a comet. Whatever it was hit the planet so hard that it knocked some rocks loose. Now, on Earth, when rocks get knocked loose, they usually fall back to the ground, at least eventually. They don't go off into space. But things are different on Mars. Gravity isn't as strong there, so if you threw a rock, it would stay up a lot longer than it would before coming down. The atmosphere on Mars is also a lot thinner. And if you're not sure what atmosphere is, that's the layer of gases surrounding a planet, kind of like a jacket. So when the atmosphere is thin, that makes it easier for a rock to go into space. And eventually, after hanging around in the solar system for a long time, some of these Martian rocks came to Earth. But now you might ask, how do we know they're from Mars? How do we know they're not from Saturn or Neptune or one of Jupiter's moons? At first, people thought the meteorites might be from Mars because of what the rocks are made of. They don't have much iron in them, which made scientists think the rocks were from a planet that had a metal core, a planet like Mars. But they found out for sure by testing gas that had gotten trapped inside the rocks. The scientists know what gases were part of the Martian atmosphere because of testing done by NASA's Viking landers. And sure enough, the gases in the rocks match the atmosphere from Mars. I don't know about you, but I think it's pretty amazing that the rocks made it here at all, but also that we figured out where they came from. It was pretty incredible to hold one of these rocks, thinking about how far it traveled, and that it started off on a whole different planet. It also makes me think about our seventh principle, having respect for the web of existence. Holding a piece of another world really makes me realize that those of us on Earth are connected to and part of something much bigger, and it makes me excited to learn more. If that sounds exciting to you too, maybe you can visit the museum and hold those rocks for yourself. And if you're curious about rovers that have gone to Mars, I recommend the film Goodnight Oppie, which is about the rover's opportunity and spirit. But for now, I will invite Emily up to help get the children to their RE programs.
In a few moments, some of us will leave the sanctuary to enjoy religious education programming. In fact, there are already several children back there, and they're having a great time. But first, I'm going to invite our lamplighter today, Emmett, to join me in the pulpit. Emmett is one of our junior youth. And you will see he is modeling one of the amazing shirts that we made in RE a few weeks ago. A lamplighter is entrusted to transfer the light of the sanctuary chalice to the lamp and then go forth to RE spaces where they will light the chalices there. Emmett will now light the lamp. I invite those going to RE to follow the lamplighter as we carry the flame, expanding our sacred space.
Good morning. Our first reading is from the final chapter of Neil deGrasse Tyson's book, Astrophysics for People in a Hurry. very short. He asked, who has the opportunity to think on the cosmic level? Who gets to think that way, he asks. Who gets to celebrate this cosmic view of life? Not the migrant farm worker, not the sweatshop worker, certainly not the homeless person rummaging through the trash for food. You need the luxury of time not spent on mere survival. You need to live in a nation whose government values the search to understand humanity's place in the universe. You need a society in which intellectual pursuit can take you to the frontiers of discovery, and in which news of your discoveries can be routinely disseminated. By those measures, most citizens of industrialized nations do quite well. Yet, the cosmic view comes with a hidden cost. When I travel thousands of miles to spend a few moments in the fast-moving shadow of the moon during a total solar eclipse, sometimes I lose sight of Earth. When I pause and reflect on our expanding universe with its galaxies hurtling away from one another, embedded within the ever-stretching four-dimensional fabric of space and time, sometimes I forget that uncounted people walk this earth without food or shelter, and that children are disproportionately represented among them. When I track the orbits of asteroids, comets, and planets, each one a pirouetting dancer in a cosmic ballet choreographed by the forces of gravity, sometimes I forget that too many people act in wanton disregard for the delicate interplay of Earth's atmosphere, oceans, and land, with consequences that our children and our children's children will witness and pay for with their health and well-being. And sometimes I forget that powerful people rarely do all they can to help those who cannot help themselves. I occasionally forget those things because, however big the world is, in our hearts, our minds, and our outsized atlases, the universe is even bigger. A depressing thought to some, but a liberating thought to me. Consider an adult who tends to the traumas of a child. A broken toy, a scraped knee, a schoolyard bully. Adults know that kids have no clue what constitutes a genuine problem because inexperience greatly limits their childhood perspective. As grown-ups, dare we admit to ourselves that we too have a collective immaturity of view? Dare we admit that our thoughts and behaviors spring from a belief that the world revolves around us? Apparently not, and the evidence abounds. Part the curtains of societal's racial, ethnic, religious, national, and cultural conflicts, and you find that human ego turning the knobs and pulling the levers. Now, imagine a world in which everyone, but especially people with power and influence, holds an expanded view of our place in the cosmos. With that perspective, our problems would shrink or never arise at all. And we could celebrate our earthly differences while shunning the behavior of our predecessors who slaughtered each other because of them. Now let's take a moment of prayer. This is called Prayers and Dreams by Rebecca Edmonston Lang. Spirit within all, mysterious force giving shape to life, miraculous source and river of being, help us to know who we are, to see our place in the history of the earth and in the family of things. Help us to see that we are part of all that ever was, our grandmother's prayer and our grandfather's dreamings, our mother's courage and our father's hope. In our bones lie the calcium of antediluvian creatures, in our veins courses the water of seas. We are part of all that ever was, born of this earth, riders upon a cosmic ocean. We are not separate from nature. We are nature, part of that same spirit that turns scales into feathers and birdsong into speech. We live by the sun. We move by the stars. We eat from the earth. We drink from the rain. O great Spirit, help us know who we are and fill us with such love for this holy creation and gratitude for this awesome gift we call living, that we might claim our inheritance and live out our calling to bless the world and each other with our care. Amen, and blessed be.
a star, dancing in the night. A star, piercing dark with light. A star, dancing in the night, dancing far, dancing free, but called by some to worldly cause for light to illuminate nativity. The star calls back its countercall to Christian celebrants and more. The star calls out to each and all, inviting us to join its sparkling, distant dance. The star awakens curiosity of purring inner people cat, pulling us to dance around its galaxy, dance out and to and through tantalizing mystery. Urged to search, surging within, we dance, equipped with Hubbles and Webbs, soaring with spaceships that fly, wondering what, when, why. We probe, we peer, and we pry. And what we find is us, dancing in the mystery, dancing through infinity, dancing with the star, dancing selves, dancing souls. Tiny human fireflies, human specks of cosmic dust, seeking knowledge, seeking truth. Out where life and love and laughter live, we dance with leading star. We dance the dance of hope and trust. Dancing, we sense how little we matter as matter, how much we matter as soul. Dancing, dancing in the wow. Dancing sentient specks of celestial dust, propelled by cosmic pulse, the pulse that powers all, both us, the infinitesimal, and the grandly dancing, soaring star. The wondrous star that deigns in turn to share its light with viewers calling out from earth, hoping to use the dancing star so all may see the wonder of nativity. Beaming star lights piles of Christmas gifts, the best of which is not myrrh or golden bar or toy or chocolate or book, but sacred human telescope, even if beginners, simple glass to search and track the marvelous star. The star that dances in the night, the star that pierces dark with light.
So I'm not even going to try to recreate the script. But if you're a visitor here, your presence is your donation to us this morning. You can make a donation through the Breeze website. You can send a check to 524 Allen Avenue if you're online, or you can contribute online. And at this time, the offering will be gratefully received. My name is Mike Lewis. I'm a member of the Worship Committee, and this time I have my script. My reflection is entitled, Keeping the Pin In. I think it's a pretty safe assumption that most everybody here today has spent at least a little time taking in the images of the universe taken from the very far away Lagrange point. It's all really so far beyond my ken. I mean, just the mechanical and scientific magic involved in the Webb telescope, what it's revealing in those stunningly beautiful images of stars, further away and in more detail than we were able to see with the Hubble. And that was mind-blowing in itself. Still is for me. From what I've read so far, the Webb telescope also opened up serious questions about what we thought we knew. But no one really seems to know what that means either, so stay tuned. I was looking at some of this new beauty, wondering what it meant. I read articles and listened to podcasts, and talking heads go on and on of all that's being revealed. There's a tone in a lot of this stuff, a sort of optimism that we're nearing some great revelation or revolution that will change everything. It's in every new headline making discovery. I remember listening to some guest on a random talking head show. He was so enthusiastic, so without doubt that great things would result from our new understanding of the cosmos. For whatever reason, the random synaptic firing in my brain brought to mind a very similar interview guest, but this was about the subatomic discoveries being made, which seemed to reorder our basic understanding of what reality could be. The same sort of gee whiz tone had been there, just about a discovery on the other side of the scientific mirror. Down, it's micro instead of macro. Each of these guests seemed to be a really intelligent, accomplished person. The enthusiasm was real to my eyes. The reporting on new scientific discoveries is, for the most part, like this, sort of, look what we can do. If there's any concern expressed about what possible downsides there might be, it might be expressed, but then it suffers a slow death by being not nearly as interesting or as fun as gee whiz, and who wants to spoil that party? So our scientific knowledge has raced at breakneck pace lately, and with that, our powers to affect things. Those with the new tech, usually a few at first, go hog wild with it, whatever it is, if they can benefit from it. Costs are externalized to others, now or in the future. Fossil fuels comes to mind. And now we're making new discoveries even more quickly with AI. I'm truly in awe of all, but I don't mind telling you I'm getting very worried too. We have all this power, all this potential that humanity never had in its history. But there's no competition between the progress we've made there and that of our spiritual understanding. If anything, it seems to be regressing, losing a sense of connection between one and all. My favorite, but dark analogy is that we remind me right now of kids playing with hand grenades. Now, I'm sorry to be so dark, but the way I look at it is from the same point I was making about science. With knowledge comes power. If we can pay attention to the earth, to the other life here with us, to having humility about what we do know and how we do it, and all the other lessons right here before us, then with that kind of knowledge, maybe we won't pull the pins on those grenades.
My name is still Erica Bartlett, and I've always been interested in space. I remember when I was a kid going up to Quaker Ridge with my family to look for Halley's Comet in 1986, and other times going up to Hackers Hill to look for shooting stars. I watched the original Cosmos series by Carl Sagan, and then the reboot by Neil deGrasse Tyson, and I was very excited that I got to see Tyson speak at Merrill Auditorium a few years ago. I've also taken pride in knowing that a Mainer, Jessica Meir, participated in the first ever all-female spacewalk, and that Karen Luzolini-Packin, a teacher from Brunswick, was one of only 5 teachers in the country selected to take part in a microgravity flight as part of the Teachers in Space Human Flight program. I know others aren't as excited about these things as I am, and many question the importance of space exploration, considering all of our problems here on Earth. It also doesn't help that we have some rather eccentric billionaires who talk about going to other planets and perhaps just leaving everyone else behind. And I will say that while the idea of going to other worlds is great for science fiction, it doesn't seem like the best focus to me right now. But that isn't the only reason to explore and learn about space, or to have a space station, or to continue learning as much as we can. Those efforts are important for many other reasons. For one, I appreciate the everyday benefits from space work. This ranges from the GPS on my phone to certain research on diseases that can only be done in microgravity, to water purification systems that help those in areas without clean water. Plus, with satellites and other technology, we can monitor and respond more quickly to natural disasters, and we can better understand climate change, and hopefully find ways to address it. And mind you, these benefits and more are for a tiny fraction of what we spend on our military. So to me, it seems worth it. But the benefits aren't just in material gains. They're also from developing a cosmic perspective and understanding the universe and ourselves. It's only been relatively recently, after all, that we've been able to observe space closely enough to know that Earth isn't the center of the universe, and that the solar system doesn't revolve around us. We can also see so much of what's out there now, first with Voyager and Hubble, and now with the James Webb Space Telescope. Seeing images of a stellar nursery, catching glimpses of countless other galaxies, seeing our own galaxy in a new way, these fill me with awe and wonder, and even a spiritual sense, knowing that I am formed of star stuff. It also helps give me perspective on our lives here. I think of the iconic image from Voyager of the Earth as a pale blue dot in the vastness of space, illuminated by a faint beam of light. I know some people look at that and can feel tiny and insignificant, but I also think about how it shows that this planet is rare and precious. This renewed focus on Earth seems to be a common feeling for those who explore space. Consider that the very first art made in space, by Alexei Leonov in 1965, wasn't a drawing of the moon or the solar system or anything looking out. It was a drawing of the Earth, with the sun rising behind it. William Shatner felt it too on his ride on Blue Origin, and he didn't even go that high up. But he was visibly moved by his experience. He talked about seeing the blackness above, so empty and bleak, compared to the blue planet below, full of life and color and safety. Neil deGrasse Tyson explains this cosmic perspective well in a recent interview. Quote, "We went to the moon to explore the moon, and we looked back over our shoulders and discovered Earth for the first time. There was Earth in all its majesty, without the color-coded countries that we were trained on in elementary school. Here you are, there's Earth, as only nature intended you to see it, with oceans and lands and clouds. That changes you. You realize how small and fragile we are, and what we have to protect." End quote. Learning that we are one part of this grand, glorious, and expansive universe, that we exist only because stars millennia ago scattered their elements across space, that we can look back in time almost to the beginning of everything, and that in all this, our pale blue dot is the only home we have. This deeper understanding of how we fit into everything is, for me, the true benefit of space exploration. And I hope that we, as a species, have enough wisdom to keep that perspective and use it to protect our home. And I invite you now to join in our closing hymn, number 1064, Blue Boat Home, in the teal hymnal. The words will also be on the screen. I invite you to rise and embody your spirit.
We extinguish the chalice with these words: "The universe awaits us, as it always has. The more we learn, the more there is to learn, as we seek to come into harmony with what we are beginning to see."